Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Now we have reviewed the ScaleTrains GE Tier 4 GEVOs before, but today we're looking at a recent release including the Canadian National Veterans Commemorative Scheme and one of several Canadian National Heritage Schemes. This one specifically is in Wisconsin Central. So with that said, we will just take a 360 and go over a few features of this locomotive since it's been covered multiple times on the channel. But let's take a look, starting next. Now, the unboxing begins. There is a difference from the last time I reviewed a Tier 4, and that is the boxes have changed. ScaleTrains has changed their design. They've dropped the .com from the main part of their name. Still have rivet counter and operator lines. These are rivet counter, which means they are highly detailed. Operator's manual here is about the same as the previous runs. It's a trifold. It just folds out this way. So you have a nice wide view. Functions, CV resetting of the decoder, CVs to change the horns, maintenance and such. Then the star of the show itself, the locomotive. It's in here in plastic blister packaging surrounded by foam. Very standard as of recently in our industry of model trains. So my camera is not a fan of all the reflections, so I'll try to get that off the locomotive as soon as possible. There are these roller bearing caps that are included for the wheels, because when the wheels turn you can see the roller bearing caps rotating, and sometimes they will rotate right off or they'll come off, so ScaleTrains had the foresight to include those with the locomotive. And I've made a mistake that I always make with ScaleTrains, which is watching out for what I call the truck immobilizers, because if you sit it down and you don't sit it down right, it's going to take a tumble to the side with those on, but they blend right in with the trucks. But they are good in the sense that they will keep the locomotive from getting damaged in transit. Okay, so you may not want to see me remove these, but I'll do it on camera anyway, because we do have a couple conspiracy theorists that believe that in between some of these takes I hide things or whatever, but it is fresh out of the box, first time, every time when I do these videos. So you can see what you're getting. Alright, we are up close and personal now. On the front, Canadian Nationals on the nose and on the sides. There are ditch lights above the anti-climber and MU hose. There's grab irons on the snowplow, accessory hoses and brake line hose, ScaleTrains metal coupler. Windshield wipers, LED headlight, grab irons on the nose. Antenna array, that is correct for this locomotive, including the dome and two skinnier versions on the side. Got a yellow ribbon along the side. This is support our troops. That's all legible to the naked human eye, and it's not smudged, so the printing is good. There are all sorts of details on the underbody here. The fuel tank especially, from warning labels to the sight glass for the fuel tank to the emergency shutoff. Jacking pads on the underbody there, and that are right here. And there's just a lot of things to see there that I don't know the name of necessarily. As we work our way towards the middle, you got the horn mounted there, the US and Canadian flags crossed. The exhaust, which is flat, not angled on this version here. They do have some versions that are angled of the Tier 4, different roads, and maybe even CN. I'm not real heavy on the CN stuff. Radiator grill towards the back looks good. A little bit of wave to it, but it's really hard to tell if that's just kind of the way it was designed. But thank you for your service kind of goes in a very slight up and down. I'm pretty sure that's accurate, but I'll check the other side. If it's straight on the other side, it might be a mistake. On the radiator, you know, the tier 4s, this is a latest level of emissions, but you can see the camo pattern printed on this. That could not have been easy on these etched metal grates, or these grates here. I think they're metal. Rear sand filler hatch light. There's the ditch lights and this light here, emergency or end of train light or whatever they call it. Spare coupler knuckles there as well, and a really low hanging kind of plow deal there. It's not quite a snow plow that I'm sure is correct. Now on CN, a big feature is the see-through walkways, and it's not just so you can see through. For people that are afraid of heights, it is for the snow and build up to filter on through, so it's not causing a hazard as crews walk along the sides of this locomotive, and that's faithfully replicated here on the ScaleTrains version. Again, on this side, there's the dynamic brake fan grills here, and all the compartment detail that you'll see. And the less we forget, I think that's a peony, and then some stuff in French that you will need to Google because I don't remember what it says. ET44 or EF644T is under here, which I believe it might be the designation for CN or whatever. So that's a quick 360 from somebody that's not a CN expert, along with the cab recorder of camera here, which you can see poking through the cab, and full cab interior detail. Alright, here's the Wisconsin Central version. A lot of the same features of the other locomotive because it's Canadian National again, so you're going to have the same antenna array and stuff like that, but obviously different scheme. We have an angled exhaust on this one. This one you can also see the X bracing a little more clearly through the grills on the side back here. Heritage to kind of commemorate Wisconsin Central being bought by Canadian National, one of many railroads that now make up Canadian National. You've got the grab irons that really pop here because they are white up against that color background, which I'm colorblind, so don't ask me, but I think it's burgundy or something. Wisconsin Central yellow stripe on the side, and all the warning labels up top as well. You know, just lots and lots of stuff that we have and haven't covered that you can use the 360 for to see for yourself. I do like what they're doing with the tinting. I think they're finally hitting strides with the tinting of the cab. It's nice and looks good, and still you can accommodate crew if you want, or whatever you want to put in there, but most people just want a nice prototypically accurate window, and I think ScaleTrains has done that here. So there is a look at the Wisconsin Central. Let's get these things running. Actually, before we get it running, I've changed my mind. I know this is a re-review, but I do want to see the weight because it just seems really, really great. And it is 1 pound, 9.6 ounces. That's 25.5 ounces, 724 grams. Or again, 1 pound, 9.4 ounces. So very impressive. I'm sure it's going to have good pulling power, and we will check that also just to keep up. But let's now finally get in operation. Okay, now we got this turned around here, and I did flip it around. I was going to have it the other direction, but who wants to look at a butt all day? So I've got it faced forward, and I noticed there was a capacitor because the light held on for a few seconds. Now, these ESU decoders are start up by pressing F8. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. One thing you may notice, light right here, walkway lights present, side and front. I believe the front, I don't actually see the front. Yeah, the front's illuminated too. Okay, as this thing gets going, we'll go over just a few sounds. Bell. Horn. Which also will ring the bell for several seconds. There's coupler crash. Do that a few times because I know the compressor kicked on there. There's dynamic brake, which when it moves, you actually hear that after you hit F4. Probably would help if I had it completely on the rails. But dynamic brake is active. I don't know how well you can hear it. There it goes. F5 is DPU mode lighting. That means it's going to go and illuminate the rear light. And it's that third light that we talked about. F6 ditch lights. We'll go back into forward here. And turn off F5. So that we have the ditch lights. You can see those nice and clear. 7's effect lights, which I don't know if we have any on here. It doesn't look like it, but just letting you know. And then there's a myriad of sounds. I mean, 28 we don't have time for. You can check out my full review. I'm going to go ahead and move this at 1 speed step. We're going to check how it registers on the AccuTrack speedometer at 1 speed step. And I will turn off dynamic brakes. So you don't hear that. Knowing ESU, it might even affect the speed, but I don't think so. But I've turned that off. Definitely some lurch at speed step 1. I always misjudge where that inside unit is on this thing. A little bit of lurch at speed step 1, but it's kind of a trade-off. You know, if you want it a little faster at speed step 1, it won't lurch. If you want it really slow, it's going to lurch, and I'm guessing this is going to come up at about 1.5 miles, 1.4 miles an hour. So let's take this away now. That's speed step 1, 1.4 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and see where the lurch goes away. So it's usually 2 or 3. Still got it at 2. 3, it's gone. Well, no, 3, it's still there. 4, still there. 5, gone. Mostly, still a little bit. 6, smoothing out. 7, probably a few scale miles an hour before it's smoothed out. It looks like it smooths out at about 7 speed steps. I don't really hold that against companies anyway. Reason is that it's not broken in. You know, if I run this around my layout 100 times and then do it, you know, that's probably a more accurate look. But it's all new components in every engine, so you're not going to have necessarily smooth versus when it's broken in. So from this side, we'll go back into forward here, and I'm going to hit that DPU mode lighting so you can see that light come on. And in case you don't see it too well, we're going to get a little closer so you can see that light comes on in DPU mode. And back off. Alright, so I'll just look at the Wisconsin Central for a second and we'll wrap this up. I don't know if you heard the warning bell on the other startup, but there it is in case you didn't. And hit the horn. Same horn, ditch lights stay steady on Canadian National, so no problem there. I'm just going to make sure this one works just for, you know, part of the review process here. So these ESU decoders take a few seconds to kind of spin up to where they'll let you move the locomotive, but you can see that one's moving and it seems a lot smoother, so maybe we just got a fluke on that one. There's 1 speed step and it's really smooth, so maybe some of the drives are hit and miss, need to be broken in or whatever the case. Again, angled exhaust on these. While I have this, I will go ahead and do a pull test for you. Okay, we're going to move this into correct unit here, which is ounces. And we're going to hold it as we get to moving. As you can see, we're in the 4s instantly, 4-ounce range instantly, approaching 5, over 5. And we'll kind of see it looks like it's peaking at maybe 5 1/4. It's about 80 regular freight cars. So 2 locomotive consist here will definitely be able to pull a prototypical Lynx train, and 1 locomotive will probably pull it. Honestly, sometimes his pull tests are a little low, but at least 80 cars given. Alright, final thoughts on these. Good as always. We'll leave you with a run by. I think the pull test is good. Sounds are still good. Quality. Little motor, maybe break-in issues or lurching issues at slow speed steps on one of the 2. And MRA compliance is good. So I will let you see a run by, and we'll see you next time right here on the channel. Take care.